one.
All right. Callum, hey. Live long and prosper. Yeah, both hands. I can do that too. So how you doing over there? It's late at night for you, isn't it?
It's 11 o'clock at night. It's been one of these really hot days. And because when Tom and Tim and I went out in the hills about 2 weeks ago, the last morning we were there with a big teepee. I don't know if you saw that one, but they were spreading, I think it was chicken muck on the fields. And the aroma was so strong.
Did you guys all wake up and do, is that me?
It's in my clothes, it's in my car, and I knew it was in the teepee. So what I had to do is I've just put the teepee up tonight, and I've just sprayed it with the hose pipe, and that actually it smelled even more. So I thought, oh, good, that's gonna bring it out. So yeah, it's a hot night, and it's 11 o'clock.
It's hot here, and I just turned off my air conditioning so we could film this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I do have all the doors open.
Well, it's warmer outside. In about a half an hour, it's going to be 90 degrees Fahrenheit in here, which would be 38. I don't know, 30.
Jeez, it's hot.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty toasty, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'll just turn it on when we're done.
All right, that's fine. Well, you start then, Kevin. Hit me with your rhythm stick.
Pop. Well, I don't know. I had a whole list of questions, and then of course I started rethinking them so I figured I'd just wing it. But first off, one thing that I did not research, and I'm curious about, maybe some others are. When did you start DXcommander?
Right. Well, I used to just buy 25 or 30 poles in one hit. And I would sell them at cost to the club members and friends and things like that. Mm-hmm. And somebody complained that it was just, I don't know, a flagpole or whatever. They were expecting some brand. So I said to my apprentice that I was working with at the time, and this is about 4 or 5 years ago, I said, let's come up with a name. I fancy the name DXcommander. Come up with a logo for me. He was only a young lad. Mm-hmm. He works at the BBC now. He's called Gerard, and he created the logo, mm-hmm. and I just got a sticker company, and then I started sticking DXcommander on the poles. But at that time, I had zero ambition of doing anything other than shipping 20, 50 poles a year just for fun, to buy a few beers. That was the kind of accidental start. But because I had a lot of poles, I would take them on holiday with me, and that's when I discovered I could put multiple elements up a vertical.
Yeah, like a vertical fan dipole.
Yeah, and that was, I'm sure it's been done before, but it was my discovery for me, if you know what I mean. And I think that's the wonder of reinventing things in ham radio. It might have been done before, but it's great to do it yourself. And then I just made a few prototypes and sold them again to probably the same guys that already bought the poles. And I think I made 20 by hand and then started running out. And so I just went off and found a laser cutting company to make the bits properly. And it's just kind of mushroomed from there, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. Is it, what's your annual sales now in units?
Right. It's doubling every year.
Wow.
So, and 46% of the world's DXcommander turnover goes to USA. That's 46. It's about half my turnover. So this year we've done just over £70,000.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say units, and I was thinking, wow, you have been busy.
Yeah. I have been busy. So that's about $100,000. Is that right? Thereabouts. And that's in 5 sales months, because January, February, we didn't have any stock. May, I shut the shop. So that's March and April, June, July, and half of August. So it's maybe 4.5 months. We've done nearly $100,000. I haven't got any money. All the money is now in 2.5 tons of DXcommander product.
Yeah. You have to keep buying supplies.
I think we've now got the limit. So I said to Wendy, we'll keep the money for the tax and some spare capacity in the bank. And then, so maybe by Christmas, we should actually have some money off DXcommander for the first time.
Oh.
Yeah.
It sounds like most young companies, the way they go. You know, all the investment goes into the company at first, and everybody works their butt off. And are we ever going to make money off of this? And then eventually you hit a tipping point or a turning point or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't
get me wrong. It's been really fun. I mean, it's like a massive experiment that went completely out of control.
Oh, really? Yeah, kind of like me and my my whole YouTube channel and now the RV life. And
yeah, that's it.
I never would have thought I'd be here.
Lovely.
But here I am. So that's great, though. It's great that it's successful and it's doing well and it's growing. You know, one of these days you'll be the CEO in the corner office.
See, the thing is, I have no ambition other than to have a lovely little company. I've grown big companies in the past. I don't actually want that. People keep telling me to hire people to do stuff. If I could do this on 4 hours at a time, 5 days, Monday to Friday, in the afternoons, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's all I want. I don't, and I can ship to the US for about the same price as I can ship within the US. So I don't even need a distributor.
Over in the United Kingdom, how do they handle taxes? I know if you're self-employed here and successful, I'm so far below the poverty line now that I haven't had to pay taxes in 3 years because I haven't made enough money. But if you're successful and self-employed, they make you pay taxes quarterly.
It's interesting. Well, because we formed a limited company, so it's an incorporated entity. Mm-hmm. So I've got these 3 companies. So I'm not self-employed in that my companies employ me.
Gotcha.
If you know what I mean. Wendy and I are just the shareholders.
Okay, well that's probably the better way to do it. So that's great, man. Yeah. Well, it's good to know it's being successful with you. You've done quite a few things in the past. When I go to research and look you up on the web, I see a motorcycle rider, a member of motorcycle clubs. I see a great picture of you behind a kit of drums up on stage. And I understand that you play occasionally with 2 bands.
Yeah.
I can't remember the second one, but the first name you can't forget, the Fat Bastards. Is that right?
Well, the Fat Bastards, I was the slimmest.
Oh, gosh. We got a band like that over here. I think they're called Bachman Turner Overweight.
Yeah, okay. Well, I always wanted to call us the Fat Bastards. But in fact, what happened, we were called some really inert name. And we were doing the Christmas party for Harley Davidson.
Oh, wow.
About 3 or 4 years ago. One of the local Harley Davidson groups.
Oh, okay. Not the company, but a local dealer.
There was a few company people there, but the DJ guy, he kept leaning over to attract my attention because the guitarist and the bass guitarist, they were busy. And he said, remind me, what are you called again? And I just said, the Fat Bastards. So when we got introduced,
and then it's
ladies and gentlemen, the Fat Bastards, and Nigel looked at me, it's like, you bugger, because I kept referring to as the Fat Bastards. He says, no, not the Fat Bastards, with the Nigel's band or something, whatever it was.
But it was too late at that point.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That reminds me of the band Jethro Tull.
Yes.
Well, of course you would. They're from over there. The way that they got their name. Do you know that story?
No, not at all.
There was a club that they wanted to play at a lot. That was a good place to be discovered, but they would only assign a band once, and so they kept going back every few weeks and changing their name every time. And the night that they got discovered and approached by a record executive, they happened to have chosen Jethro Tull that night. And so that's how they got it.
See, Kevin, you do know everything.
I don't know about that. But Well, that's cool, man. So you guys still play a lot, and
the Fat Bastards don't, because Nigel is effectively retired. He should have bought an RV like you, Kevin. But the other band, we just play in here, actually, about every fortnight, every 2 weeks.
Oh, just for fun.
It's just, they keep thinking we're going to gig, but I'm telling you, they're not quite good enough.
No.
So,
well, that's neat though, man. You know,
yeah,
multi-talented. Oh, there you go. Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, way.
Well, I don't have another question off the top of my head. I'm sure one will come to me. But is there,
sure.
is there anything you wanted to ask me?
Yes, I'm fascinated. Do you? You've got the RV, you're into amateur radio. Now, before your YouTube channel, did you ever have, did you like photography, or did you do video like the old VHS days or anything?
Yes,
did
yes,
you
and
ever
yes.
play? Tell me about that.
Well, I was into photography and graphic art most of my life. I even played around with I did a lot of graphic stuff back in the old Commodore 64 days and Amiga days. I helped build a small low-power TV station in a small city called Auburn, Indiana, and we built the video switching around an Amiga. So I was involved in setting up the whole editing bay and did a lot of videography and computer graphics there.
Wow.
I did do wedding photography for a little while, but that was just way too stressful. And the last one I did, the bride informed me that her father was dying. He had maybe a few days left, but he was insistent on walking her down the aisle. And they brought him in a wheelchair to the end of the aisle and helped him up. And then they kind of scurried down the aisle, and I only got 3 shots, and her eyes were closed on every single one. But it was digital, so I just went and found her later and had her hold her head a certain way and smile and cut and paste.
Grab the eyes.
I did some work as a photo restorer, too, for a little while for people. I was restoring old photos they'd find in their attic that were cracked and broken, and I had to repaint faces and things. And, so I've done a lot of that as a hobby. And
going back to the old video days, was that using like Betamax, or was that with VHS?
That was VHS. We had
like
these
Super VHS.
Huh?
Super VHS.
Yes.
Or,
yeah. These were studio quality decks in the TV station. The decks were this big, and they could do frame inserts. You could have it actually back the tape up and roll it forward and do one stripe and insert a frame. So we could do. That was how you did animation back then. Memory was too tight, so the computer would render a frame, fire off the VCR, record it, and then render the next frame. And you'd start it when you went home, and you hoped you didn't have a glitch in the middle of the night.
Wow, it actually knew which frame.
Oh yeah. They were time code controlled VHS studio quality decks.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was interesting and fun.
So I had a pair of SVHS decks and a little Panasonic mixer. And this is before YouTube, of course, well before YouTube. And we did some weddings and we did all sorts of things. But I did a lot of personal, just fun projects. I've still got all the tapes, Kevin.
Oh, I wish I had some of my old stuff.
So I've got an SVHS deck upstairs. I just need a capture card, and I'll just suck it all off.
Yeah.
And there might be a fun video one day. All my crappy little fun projects I did. Yeah.
Digitize them all, upload them to YouTube. Just don't publish them so that they're still there in 20 years.
Oh hell, might as well just publish them.
Oh.
So, have you ever had another hobby other than your electronics?
Well, yeah. Well, photography was kind of a hobby. Electronics, I started building electronic circuits and project kits from Radio Shack when I was 11 years old. I just always have done that.
I see.
But outdoorsy stuff, too. I've always liked to camp and hike. And I used to. My back neck kind of put me out of that. I can't walk a mile now without having to sit down, but
wow.
Yeah, it's terrible. But what can you do? We're not made to last.
Well, no, we're not. A good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have I done? Well, computers, of course. I guess that's what covers it. Mostly technical stuff.
Yeah, and how do you? I'm fascinated in now that I've got my YouTube channel. I'm more interested in audio than I used to be. Do you find that as well?
Not really. I mean, I do edit all the audio tracks, of course, for the videos and try to normalize them and such. But I haven't done music in a long time. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, I used to play woodwinds and keyboards.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just hold it out. When I say audio, not necessarily music, but I know you drive Audacity pretty hard, don't you, with compression techniques and that sort of thing.
It's my go-to Swiss Army knife for audio.
Yeah. So do you? What am I trying to say? I'm very interested in the quality of my audio on YouTube, and I think
it's quite good.
There's a lot of people that kind of miss that trick, and their audio levels are all over the place. And just 10 minutes with Audacity could fix all that.
Sure, yeah. I actually did a little tutorial video on that not too long ago.
I watched it.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm and I know you use the Vegas.
No.
I
use KDEN Live. It's an open source editor.
Live. Yeah. That's right.
No commercial software here. Everything's open source. All Linux and open source.
Yeah. And I've got Premiere, but it just got a lot of audio tools built into that. But hey, I pay a lot of money for it. So
well, yeah, that's that is the thing with commercial software. You're going to have the features. You're going to have the feature set. Yeah. But Kden Live, it does have a lot of audio tools, and it's pretty close to Vegas in functionality.
Yeah. Okay. Is Vegas a paid-for thing then?
Yeah, that's Sony Vegas.
Ah, right. Okay.
I think they have a free version that's really trimmed down, or they used to, but I haven't looked at it, so I can't say for sure.
Now, I once built my first aerial with a bit of wire, and I hooked a balun onto it, and the bloody thing worked. I want you to tell me your first aerial that you built with a piece of wire out in the backyard.
I was 16 years old. I had just gotten my novice license, which was CW only. And for Christmas, there were 3 big boxes under the tree. And when I tore the wrapping off the first one, I saw a Heathkit. And I got all excited. My dad got me a Heathkit HW8 for Christmas. Wow. And so I spent the next 3 days down in my little workshop in the basement building that and tuning it up. And then I needed an antenna. So I went and dug up a spool of wire, just regular old solid, like 18-gauge wire, and I ran it out my bedroom window and up into a tree, an old maple tree outside of my window, climbed up as high as I could, and eventually it went across to another tree in the backyard. I kept extending it, but I built an L-network tuner, wound the coil on an old oatmeal box, and found some variable capacitor that my dad had stripped out of an old radio or something, and threw all that together. And I didn't have an SWR meter, so I put a little incandescent light bulb in line with the wire, and I would tune for the brightness peak, and so that was my first antenna. And on the first page of my my original log, I have a Hawaii station on 15 meters that I worked with 1.5 watts from Michigan all the way out across the country and out into Hawaii. With that and that HW8. I've never worked Hawaii since.
That's amazing. No, neither have I. Was your father into that thing as well?
He followed me into the hobby. He to do something with his son, he followed me into electronics, he followed me into ham radio, got his license, and we joined the local club, and we would do the things with the club members, the communications for the raft race and parade and field day and all of that. And so he followed me into it.
Tremendous. And so to close off there, where do you see your YouTube channel going?
I have no idea.
No.
I have no idea. I've just been kind of making this up as I go along. The RV wasn't really a willing choice. I was in a position where I had lost the job I had at Sweetwater, And I had spent almost 2 years searching for work. I'd sent out 130 some applications. I had 3 interviews. It's reached a point where I think a lot of it is the front end of HR departments is all computerized now. They might get 70 applications on a job posting, but only 2 or 3 make it to the HR guy's desk. So, and I was getting to the point where I'd pretty much depleted my savings, and I was making enough on YouTube to keep the house, but not upkeep the house.
Yeah.
And it was needing roofing and walls repaired and plumbing and a new washing machine. The list was growing, and I had no way to do any of it, and so I just kind of went this way. I thought, well, my son's grown up and he's moved out. I might as well go and just explore a little bit. And so that's why I took this route. But where it's going, I have no idea. I kind of keep my ear open, and as I talk to people when I go to different places looking for maybe a possible job somewhere, where I could get normal employment again. Yeah. But so far, I'm breaking even and doing okay. And thanks to the generosity of a few people that pop up now and then, I'm able to travel and keep going.
I think,
of course,
fantastic.
my patrons, those guys. Hey guys, if you're watching, thank you. They've enabled me to continue to survive out here, and I don't know what I'd do otherwise.
That's amazing, really tremendous. Yeah. And you got me. I was all caught up in your story then, but I would go so far as to say quite a lot of people are jealous of your freedom. And although you might wake up in the morning wondering where the next $1,000 is coming from, you've got an element of freedom now.
There is that, yes, there is. This is a job, you well know that there's a lot of work involved in doing the videos, setting up the cameras and all the different shots and all the media and all the editing. There's a lot of work. It is a job, but I like the hours.
Yeah.
I work when I want to work.
That's right. You can choose, and you can put a big day in or a lesser day in.
Right, or I've woken up in the middle of the night and had an idea and come out and done some of the preliminary work and all that just because I was awake and might as well,
Yeah, good for you.
I don't have to have my life ruled by a clock.
No. Well, my life's ruled by Wendy. But there we are.
Yeah.
I'm just going to check my notes for the last few things. So you got your patrons. I would call them the core of folks who encourage you and keep you going. But for the rest of the guys out there, in my channel and yours, I was going to answer your question, but how would you describe the bulk of both of our subscriber base? There we are.
The bulk? Oh, they're great people. I look at other videos out on YouTube, and I look at the comment threads, and then I go back and I look at my videos in the comment threads. And my viewers, they're overall very positive and helpful people. I see lots of good comments and positive, helpful comments. I go to other channels, and you'll see that stuff's all over the board. So I got a great viewer base. I love these guys, and there's quite a few of them that they're familiar to me now. It's really hard to keep track of everybody.
I know.
I read a psychological study once that said that the average brain can really only keep 12 active relationships going.
Okay.
And beyond 12 people, you kind of get this cursory level of relationship where you kind of remember that person, but you're not aware of their life,
Yeah.
So it's challenging. I get people that contact me that I have to remember. There's hundreds of people that I'll hear from weekly, and how do you keep track of all of that? But I try. I do my best, and I do read all the comments. Don't always respond to all of them because it's overwhelming some days. But they're all great people. You have the occasional troll. I had a guy that went through and just peppered about 14 videos with comments like, ham radio operators are dorks, get a life. He just went on and on and on. I went and looked at his YouTube page, and just like most trolls, it was completely blank. He just created it so he could comment, And it was delete. There was language, so I delete them. Sometimes I'll leave them if they're just being dumb, but if they're really annoying like that and using language that I don't want on my channel, I'll delete them.
Yeah.
But those are very few. Very few.
there's about 500 people that I think regularly comment on your channel and my channel, certainly. But although I don't know all their names, I recognise the new one that pops up.
Right.
I haven't seen that before. You know, I think he must be a new guy. So it's just an interesting experiment trying to remember them all, if you know what I mean. I don't have a relationship with them all, but there's a Joe and there's an Ed and there's a Kevin. You know, so I just remember you're doing the top 100.
You're doing better than me. My memory's been going for about 25 years now, and there's days when I don't remember what I had for breakfast, but I do my best to keep track of what's going on the channel and remember those guys. You know, but nice thing about this life though is if it's Alzheimer's or whatever, as that progresses, I'll never be lost.
No,
I'll just be living somewhere else.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. What a lovely chat tonight, young Kevin.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, it was nice talking to you, and thanks for doing this. I'm sure that our viewers will both enjoy watching this and learning a little bit more about us.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, a very good day, and thanks to everybody. Bye for now.
Okay, 73, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.